Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be doing some buyer beware for the brand new Smuggler's Run DLC content. I'm going to be telling you guys which items you should stay away from, as well as giving you some general warnings on some of the things I don't necessarily love about this update, and might get you in a little bit of trouble too. So we've got a lot to talk about today, so let's not waste any more time, and let's get it started. So the biggest thing in this update is probably by far the new hangars. That's where everything happens. That's where the missions happen. It's where you customize your new aircrafts. Without it, you can't really do a whole lot in this update. So you have to have a hangar. However, there are a couple things that I would strongly recommend you stay away from and that kind of bother me with the hangar. Number one, do not buy a hangar in Fort Zancudo. I know it's sexy and that's like the thing people want to do because it gives you this cool little fancy low-level clearance in Fort Zancudo, but I don't think it's the best move. For starters, number one, the hangars in Fort Zancudo are more expensive than the hangars at LSIA. And the only difference is the location. The hangars on the inside are not any different. So they can't store any more airplanes. They don't have any more, unique or special features. They're exactly the same, just different locations. Now, one of the reasons why I prefer a Los Santos International Airport hangar over a Fort Zancudo one is for a couple reasons. Number one, the location to other important things. So my MC Clubhouse, my vehicle warehouse, my CEO office are all located within Los Santos. So wouldn't it make sense for me to put my airplane hangar that's going to be involved in missions and whatnot in a pretty similar and close area in case I need to bounce to one of those things as well? Whereas Fort Zancudo is kind of isolated on the western side of the map between two massive mountains. So it's kind of hard to navigate the aircrafts between them. And also, in case you didn't realize, it's a military base. So there's a couple things that I don't like about it. Number one is there's NPCs everywhere. And if you accidentally hit those NPCs, you do anything to piss them off, you're going to get stars and they're going to start shooting at you. Also, number two, the Fort Zancudo runway and airport itself is very cluttered with things that you can't necessarily fly through, like trees and invincible light poles and sandbags and other vehicles and ramps, whereas Los Santos International Airport doesn't really have any of those. It's just wide open where you can fly and really not have to worry about anything. And probably the biggest downside, in my opinion, to the Fort Zancudo one has to be the fact that there is so many griefers that hang out there. I don't know if it's Fort Zancudo or I don't know if it's because it's the most expensive hangar that's up there, but if you combine all those three things, the objects, the NPCs, and the griefers, it leads to some pretty difficult times, whether you're just trying to get a vehicle out and enjoy it, or whether you're trying to deliver a vehicle back from a sourcing mission. Everything is about 5 to 10 times harder at Fort Zancudo. So why would you make things difficult on yourself? It's cheaper, it's easier. For me, it's more convenient. Just get a hangar at Los Santos International Airport. It's all around just overall better. Now, a couple things that I'm not a big fan about with the hangars themselves. These are just some things that I wish Rockstar had improved on. I think the customization on old vehicles is a little bit limited. So, for example, if you take a Luxor or a Titan, or you take a Buzzard inside your hangar, yes, you can customize them and they'll become personal aircraft vehicles, but you can only change the color, which is kind of disappointing. I wish that you had the ability to maybe do a little bit more. Now, I understand why that might get tricky with older vehicles using new customization, but at the same rate, I wish Rockstar had maybe been able to give us a little bit more upgrading. Also, the fact that we can't sell these vehicles is kind of upsetting too. Like, once we bring into the hangar, why can't we sell them? To me, that would seem like an easy no-brainer. I can't tell you how many old Pegasus vehicles I am dying to get rid of, but I can't. I mean, my inventory is so cluttered right now. I think I have like 52 different Pegasus vehicles. It's a mess. So I wish I could sell them. Obviously, I can't. A couple other things about the hangar. I feel like there's a lot of wasted space. Like, it's this massive area with a bunch of like ladders you can climb and rafters you can go around, but I'm not exactly sure what all that space is for. I wish it would have been utilized a little bit better, maybe with more office space or more things to do or more features. I just think it's a little bit too big. And the storage feature is awkward too. So for example, you can bring in a big plane like a Titan, but it's going to have to go to storage unless you want to clear out half of your hangar floor. And then it's kind of difficult to mix and match all the little planes around it. So that is a little bit tricky. I wish Rockstar had chosen a little bit of a better way in which we could organize our hangar floors. But that's pretty much the only gripe I have with the hangars. I overall think they're really cool and a ton of fun, and I've been enjoying my time with them so far. Let's move on to vehicles. So I want to talk not about the price, because I've been talking about the price in a couple videos by now, and that is subjective. So if you have a ton of money, then price is obviously going to be no big deal. If you don't have a ton of money, then it's going to be a huge deal. But there's a couple things about the vehicles in particular that bother me. Number one is the vehicle insurance. It seems as if Rockstar can almost never get this right, as vehicle insurance is so awkward. So you get bad sport points for destroying personal aircrafts now, like a Hydra, and you have to pay $1K for insurance. So what are we supposed to do? Just sit there and watch the guy in the Hydra kill us now? Like, are you kidding me? We get bad sport points and have to pay for their insurance. I mean, it's only $1,000, which is not bad. So at least that is something that isn't too terrible. But at the end of the day, come on, Rockstar. Why are we paying for people that have the ability to shoot us in the face with lock-on missiles? Another thing that bothers me is the drip feed vehicles and how much there is. So I don't have a problem with drip feed vehicles. I do have a problem with drip feed vehicles when there are more drip feed vehicles than the actual content you get on day one. So I think we got 9 total vehicles, but there's 11 that are going to be coming out over the tunables over the next couple weeks and months. And what's even more awkward is many of those locked vehicles can actually be used and found in the vehicle sourcing missions that you do from your hangar. So that's kind of awkward too. That, I mean, they're in the game. Rockstar just have them locked away behind this little wall, and they're going to be slowly releasing them. Now, the only other thing I can say about the vehicles is just be careful. They are expensive, and we are going to be getting similar vehicles soon to kind of tie in the drip feed. So for example, the new supercar we got today, the Grotti Vision, well, there's another supercar that's going to be coming out sometime pretty soon. It's going to be the Coil Cyclone. Same with a bunch of the other planes that have similar features, like the ability to land on water or the ability to be weaponized. There's a lot of jets we have in the game right now that are going to be very similar to what's coming out soon. So just be careful. Don't buy everything right now, because there's going to be maybe some vehicles you enjoy more or less that will be releasing soon. All right, moving on, let's talk about the clothing and mask. These things rock. I absolutely love the clothing and mask, but there's a lot of repetition here. And I know a lot of people that like to buy everything. You may want to double check before you just start buying away at some of the clothing and mask, because number one, a lot of the patterns are the same, like item from item, but also number two, a lot of the patterns are repeat from gun running. So you'll see a lot of the same, camouflage geometric patterns and shapes that you saw in the gun running stuff. Well, you're now going to see that kind of transform over to the Smuggler's Run stuff. So to me, that's a little bit disappointing. Same with the masks as well. Some of them can be a little bit repetitive, but if you enjoy a lot of variety, then this shouldn't be a problem for you. Now, what I want to do is move on to some things that kind of bothered me a little bit. Number one, the fact that there's no missions like with import-export and with gun running. I always thought those were a ton of fun, and I could have seen myself having a blast doing them with some of the new missions and stuff like that, with some of the new vehicles. So I'm not sure why Rockstar decided to go against that, not doing missions instead of only having sourcing and selling stuff. Speaking of those sourcing and selling missions, I have heard that they are incredibly difficult. Now, I've only done one of them. I am going to be doing some more later today on a live stream, but I've heard they're really hard. And the one that I had to do was incredibly tedious. It made me go from like one side of the map to another. And basically, I had to just grab this package, bring it back to the hangar, go back to another package, bring it back to the hangar. It was a real pain in the butt. So I can totally get behind that the missions are pretty difficult and pretty tedious. And another thing I've heard as well is that the payouts suck. So I'm going to hopefully find this out in a little bit if the payouts are any better or anything like that. But so far, all I've seen is that they're not very good. Another thing that's kind of a bummer is personal aircraft request cooldowns. So this is very similar to the interaction menu that we use to call in our vehicles. You can call in your personal aircrafts now, except the cooldown time is really long. And instead of placing it right in front of you because they are aircrafts, a lot of the times they're placed not even in front of you, even if you're standing on an airport tarmac. They're going to be placed on like the other side of the world, which is kind of disappointing. So this system doesn't work all that great. I think it was a good try, but there's still a lot of bugs with the delivery system that I don't all that enjoy. And then last but not least, the only other two things that I'm kind of bothered about, no new weapons and no new haircuts. We got a ton of other cool stuff, vehicles, clothing, tattoos, but really we couldn't get one new haircut and we couldn't get one weapon either. To me, that's just a little bit disappointing. I would have loved to have gotten something new like that in this update, especially considering how massive it was. Would it really have been that hard to add another weapon or another haircut? There's a lot of fighter pilot haircuts that I think would be pretty cool for both the men and the women. So it's just kind of unfortunate. But again, that's just kind of me nitpicking at this update. But anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to be talking about for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy, and hopefully you learned a thing or two about maybe some of the items that you don't necessarily want to buy going forward in Grand Theft Auto Online. My goal, as always with videos like this, is to hopefully tell you about maybe one item that you should stay away from or one thing that you need to be aware about. And if I've done that, then I definitely consider this video a success. If you did go and enjoy, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. Without the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.